You're watching this morning's broadcast on News Central Television. This is News Now with me, Joe Hanson. Let's take a look at the top stories for this hour. Amnesty activists tackle police over harassment of protesters. TCN promises backup system to avert frequent grid collapses. Also tell you about the news concerning renewed fighting as it resumes in DR Congo's North Kivu region. We'll get the details here shortly. Stay with us. Let's begin by telling you that human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and activists, have tackled the Nigeria police force over the alleged harassment of protesters commemorating the 4th anniversary of the End SARS protests. The activists, including 3 females, were first dispersed by tear gas fired by policemen before being rounded up and bundled into an awaiting Black Maria, which transported them to Panti Police Station, Yaba, where they were detained, according to eyewitnesses. In a tear statement, Amnesty International described the action by the Lagos State Police Command as unacceptable. The national coordinator of the Youth Rights Campaign, Michael Adaramoye, also condemned the vicious attack on activists and protesters, which he noted has characterized the police force. Well, let's recall that yesterday marks the 4th anniversary of the tragic event at the Lekki Tollgate, where peaceful protesters were met with violence during the End SARS movement in 2020. The memory of that night continues to resonate deeply within Nigeria and beyond. News Central's Bettina Willie reports.
4 years ago, thousands of Nigerians gathered at the Lekki Tollgate in Lagos to demand justice against police brutality in the country. 4 years after, with an attempt at a solemn remembrance, banners and placards were seized and protesters apprehended and whisked away in a Black Maria.
Against unjustice, police,
group of protesters
fighting for you.
who wanted to mark
I'm going to arrest you.
the anniversary of the End SARS Lekki Tollgate massacre apprehended by a group of policemen under the leadership of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos. I'm right now speaking to you.
Look at me.
From a Black Maria.
I am beaten and my phones are seizing.
Brutalized. My glasses.
I will have been robbed. Their phones have been taken by the police.
It was struck away from my hand by a police officer without any provocation. We're asking here today, when the right to commemorate the dead has become illegal and criminalized in this country.
Concerned citizens, over 20 in number, united to honor the memories of the deceased, but instead were faced with heavy resistance from the police. The Commissioner of Police, though present, did not address the press and instructed that his team shouldn't address the press either.
I just got arrested now by the area commander of Island. So I'm going to meet the likes minds of people inside the Black Maria. Solidarity forever. My struggle, freedom come.
Today's event serves as a poignant reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice, freedom, and above all, the enduring spirit of the End SARS movement in Nigeria. In Lagos, for News Central, I'm Bettina Nwili.
Meanwhile, the 22 protesters arrested by the police during the End SARS memorial at the Lekki Tollgate in Lagos have been released. The protesters had gathered on Sunday morning to mark the 4th anniversary of the End SARS protest, which demanded an end to police brutality in Nigeria. Hassan Taiwo Soweto, the national spokesman for the Youth Rights Campaign, YRC, confirmed the release of the protesters to journalists, revealing that the Lagos State Commissioner of Police personally visited Panti Police Station to facilitate their release. However, Soweto criticized the CP's actions, alleging that the arrest and assault happened in his presence. According to Soweto, many of the protesters suffered injuries, with one experiencing severe bleeding from the nose. Well, joining us now on the news is Blessing Oshuba. She is a member of the organizing committee of the #EndBadGovernance in Nigeria Lagos chapter. Good morning to you, Blessing, and thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let me start first by asking you, what does October 20, 2020 mean to you as an activist and also as a member of this movement?
I would say October 20, 2020 is a day that was supposed to birth a new Nigeria, because that was the day Nigeria awoke from its slumber. Everybody was outside, regardless of your tribe, regardless of your religion. We were all outside to demand an end to police brutality. So everybody was outside to demand for that, a total reform of the Nigeria police force. We were all out for that. So October 2020 was a day that was supposed to give birth to a new Nigeria, but it turns to a day of mourning. October 2020 turned into a day of mourning to Nigerians. People were killed, fathers were killed, brothers were killed, sisters were killed that day. So that day is a day Nigeria mourn. October 2020, that was supposed to be a day of a new Nigeria, was a day Nigeria mourn. It became a day of mourning to Nigerians.
Anyway, what was it like for you during the memorial just yesterday? We heard that some marchers were molested. Can you confirm this report?
Yeah, we were arrested, we were molested yesterday.
Okay, when you say we, how many of you, and what really happened? Can you paint a picture for us, the true picture of what really took place?
Okay, so yesterday, we the members of the End Bad Governance Nigeria and Lagos chapter, we all came out. About, not all of us though, because some of our members were to meet us there at the venue. But I think the key people, we came out yesterday morning to commemorate the October 2020 massacre. So we came out to lay wreaths and to say some prayers for the souls that were lost there. So on our way there, we got an intel from some of our members that were around that, the police shot tear gas at some members of the TIB that were there early. So, but we said we will not go back. We will keep moving because we're not there to constitute nuisance. Neither are we there to disrupt any activity. So we got there. When we got there, we alighted from our bus. We saw the police. We saw them. They were very much, like up to 50 of them. And we were not even up to 22. So when we saw the police, we came out with our banner and the wreath we wanted to lay on the floor. We held our banner, we were singing solidarity songs and marching towards the toll gate. Then the police started marching towards us. And when we saw them, our comrade Soweto, he asked all of us to stand. So we shouldn't be as if the police are coming and we're going to meet them. Let us stand, let them come and meet us. And we were just with our banner and our wreath. So even the solidarity song we were singing, we stopped it, okay, for the police to come. When the police came, others were just at our back. They just came to our back. And we were like, okay, no, since we're not criminals, we're not there we're not armed. So we just stood, and Comrade Soweto went to meet the police. I think he went to meet one of the policemen to explain our reasons for being there. Before we know what was happening, police were already beating us. They were beating us, like, move it, yeah? Move it. Okay, we started moving. And that was how they moved us to their Black Maria. When we got there, before we got there, there was a comrade beside me, one of our Comrade Kingsley. He was so beaten to the extent that even me, they were beating me. Well, I was feeling pity for him. His mouth, blood was actually coming out from his mouth. We are not criminals. That is the way you handle criminals. We were just protesters that were out yesterday to lay wreaths, to commemorate the date that the massacre that happened there 4 years back. But we were brutalized and beaten by the police. Okay, when we got to the Black Maria, they were, we should enter, but one of them said, okay, let's separate them. The females should be taken to another one while the male entered that one. We entered, when we entered the Green Maria, because they took us, about 4 female, they took us to their Green Maria. So we entered, immediately we entered, they demanded for our phones already, because a day before, a comrade of ours informed the CP and the AIG that we were coming out on Sunday. So already, when they asked us to enter, I was already making calls to him, but they collected my phone from me. When they collected my phone, they collected other comrades' phone. Then a female comrade of my fellow comrade was sitting behind me, and the police were like, our phone, she kept her phone, or she hid her phone inside her body. Then they had to call a female police officer to come and dip her hand inside my comrade's body to bring out a phone that she has already given to them. The female was like, God, the female police officer was molested, harassed my protesters sexually. She harassed her by gripping her breast, like grabbing it. What are you? My protesters was like, why are you touching me? Why are you touching me? But this lady was, at the end of the day, there was no phone on her. The phone has already been collected. Then from there, they moved us down to Panti. So when we got to Panti, our comrade, his clothes was torn, his shirt, our comrade Soweto, his shirt was torn at that Panti police station by a male police officer. So when we got to Panti, a police officer came out to address us, to also get us water, pure water, and which we rejected. Because during the October 1st protest, the CP gave us bottled water and gala, refreshment. Some comrades rejected it. And now, after we've been brutalized by your people at the Lekki Tollgate, you are now coming out to give us water. We rejected it. You cannot do that. We will not take it. We refuse to accept their water. Because you cannot be playing a good cop versus bad cop. Are you all not working together? Are they telling us the Nigerian police are not in sync? So you cannot brutalize us at the Lekki Tollgate, then you start offering us water. We refused it.
All right, Blessings. I mean, you've said so much, and especially in graphic details, explaining what really happened from the toll gate down to Panti. But I want to ask, what does this mean to you and your fellow comrades or your colleagues who were out there marching in commemoration of the NSAS protest? What does it mean to you? What kind of picture does it paint to you being a Nigerian? How do you feel now being a Nigerian? Do you still have hopes? Do you think that the current government administration would accede to the demands and right the wrongs that were committed in October 2020, if you recall, October 2020, the NSAS time?
Okay, so yesterday as a Nigerian, I would say I am disappointed. I am disappointed because the Nigerian police is supposed to be our safe space. But right now, it doesn't seem so at all. So I am disappointed that what happened yesterday was almost a repeat of what happened during the October 2020. It was almost a repeat, just that we were not killed. So it was almost a repeat of the October 2020. So I'm disappointed. October 2020, we came out to demand a reform of the Nigerian police force. And yesterday, we also came out to commemorate the people that were killed, and we were harassed. It shows that as a country, it means, I won't say we are going backward. We are supposed to be going forward as a country. And we want the government to look into it. That is it. The government needs to look into it. And we keep coming out. I believe they are trying all this to weaken the movement. But we will not be weakened. We will keep coming out. We will keep demanding for a good Nigerian. We will keep demanding for it. We will not relent. We will not stop. We will keep coming out. The government needs to take accountability. The government needs to stop implementing frigid policies that causes hardship on the citizens of Nigeria. We will not stop. We will keep coming at it. Nigeria is good. Nigeria is great. And we believe Nigeria will be great. So the government has a lot of things to do. They have a lot of work to do. So we will not stop. They are only, I believe, all they were trying to do, all they tried to do yesterday, because we've been coming at August 1 to 10, we were out, October, we were out, we've been out this period. So they are trying to kill our spirit, they are trying to kill our morale. But we know that we will not stop. We will keep coming out. If Nigeria is great, nobody will be out demanding for good governance. If things are okay in this country, if people can feed fine, we will not be out. We are out because the economy is really, people can benefit. That is why we keep coming out each day. The government is trying all its good to make sure to repress us, but we will not be repressed. We will keep coming out.
All right, Blessing Oshuba is a member of the organizing committee and bad governance in Nigeria. I mean, we sympathize with you, especially looking at the horrid and picture that you painted to us, especially what took place yesterday. I want to thank you so much for joining us here on News Now, and hopefully we'll get to hear from the CP himself when he joins us to also speak on the issue. Thank you so much, Blessing, and do take care of yourself.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Coming up next on the news, we'll take a look at the national grid. TCN promises backup system to avert frequent collapses. That will be after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The Transmission Company of Nigeria has promised a backup or buffer system to ensure that Nigerians won't be thrown into blackout whenever the national grid collapses. The TCN Managing Director Sule Abdulaziz, who made this known, blamed aged infrastructure as old as 50 years for the frequent grid collapses in the country. The TCN boss said the investment in critical electricity generation and transmission infrastructure must be continuous. He said Nigerians are paying more for power because electricity production is not easy, and that citizens on Band A now enjoy 24-hour electricity, a claim many residents would contest. Abdulaziz said despite the electricity tariff hike, power in Nigeria has remained cheaper than what is obtainable in neighboring Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso and other African countries. Now to politics. Despite the Supreme Court ruling granting autonomy to local government councils in Nigeria, the debate over the status of local government councils in relation to the conduct of elections into their leadership continues to be a source of controversy. Some residents of Abuja, while speaking to News Central Television, have called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to take over the conduct of local government polls so that they can practice full autonomy. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
The past few weeks witnessed the conduct of local government elections by the Rivers, Akwa Ibom and Plateau State's independent electoral commissions. The elections have elicited mixed reactions even as Kaduna and Kogi State conducted theirs this week. While Nigerians continue to ask questions over the enforcement of the local government autonomy, some FCT residents say events that have played out in the processes still prove undue interference by the state governors as they attempt to determine their leadership.
We've seen it from the past to the present that a political party that has produced a governor, once they conduct a local government election, when the state independent elections, whatever, bodies conduct election, it takes it all. It takes it all. You understand? In fact, they handpick. No other party will ever have a seat there. So when you look at that trend, it will tell you that then it was not a transparent process.
I think INEC, yes. INEC in the sense that I don't believe that the state will actually speak in the sense that they'll always find a way. They'll always speak for the governor, not for the people.
Okay, now let me now tell you. It will give that local government independence on how to run the public service work because they are elected candidates. Not just being elected, they will not have that say, not to take instruction from the governor. Most of them, because of the party affiliations, they depend so much on the governor. They don't take decision on their own. But the fact you are giving them that autonomy, to now give them that right to work for the people, not just for the governor.
The way and manner in which governors indiscriminately write results in the state's Independent Electoral Commission is not fair enough for democracy in Nigeria.
They gave an instance of Akwa Ibom State where they alleged that the state electoral body openly compromised the process.
Like in Akwa Ibom, you understand? In fact, I read from the papers that even the governor had to placate some PDP stakeholders in Senudium, where the Senate president came from, because they just, the INEC, the state, whatever, resident or whatever, they announced PDP as a winner. But out of negotiation, they say it's APC, and they got angry. Give them monies, give them cash. You understand? It's negotiation. Otherwise, so just to give him that respect that he's a number 3 citizen, they have to give him that local government. You understand? So it's not supposed to be like that.
In Akwa Ibom State, we have where they just recently conducted local government elections in the state. Yes, the PDP wrote results in all the local government, but because they have our chairman there, so he quickly came and told them, no, you have to represent my interests. And that was how they now wrote results in favor of APC in that manner. So what I want to say is that let the Independent National Electoral Commission, mandated with the responsibility of conducting elections in Nigeria.
Section 197 of the 1999 Constitution has empowered governors in the exclusive list to be in charge of those appointing those to manage their state electoral commission to conduct elections in the local government. And that implies that for full autonomy to be fully achieved, that section has to be amended so that the local government will be free from any kind of interference. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Still on politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has expressed its readiness for the forthcoming Ondo State governorship election scheduled for November 16. However, there are concerns in some quarters due to the usual issues that mar elections in the country, such as delays in the distribution of electoral materials to polling units, as well as security of those participating in the process. This is as the Ondo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has petitioned INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, demanding immediate replacement of the state's resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Toyin Babalola. The PDP is demanding the replacement of the REC. Also asked the INEC boss to deploy a non-partisan official with no previous association with Ondo State. Moving on now, let's tell you that the National Vice Chairman of the Labour Party Southeast, C.K. Igara, says he and some executive of the party have been subjected to untold humiliation and intimidation by the factional acting chairman of the party and Abia State government. He said they will no longer take lightly all the threats and discomfort they have suffered in the recent times, as Ima Oti and the state government will be held responsible. News Central's Chinwe Ugele has more.
Saturday at Abada was disrupted by some detectives. Some members of the Labour Party leadership in the zone are meeting in the same space on Sunday to evaluate the events of the previous day. After spending nearly 12 hours in the custody of the police in Omahia, the National Vice Chairman of the Labour Party in the Southeast, C.K. Igara, reveals there was no prior invitation by the police before his arrest.
Yesterday I was asking them, all these Gestapo, why not just invite me? I will come. If you invite me, I will come. But you have not invited me. And then what, you resort to come here to come and whisk me away as if you have seen a common criminal.
On the allegations by the factional acting chairman of the Labour Party in Abia State that Igara is impersonating and extorting members, he has this to say.
Based on the incompetent attitude of Imoti, the party dissolved Abia State and empaneled a new committee, a caretaker committee, for 3 months in line with the constitution of the party. And that brought Prince Dr. Gio Ndubeze as the acting state chairman.
As for Prince Ndubeze, the factional state chairman of Labour Party, there must be a thorough investigation into the arrest.
We are also happy that the police did the needful by releasing our national vice chairman within the time frame, although we will like the matter to be thoroughly investigated to know the reason for that. We are not going to just because he has been released and we allow the matter to die the way it came. No, it's impossible. So it's the accusation. We want it to be properly investigated, and somebody must be responsible because this is not the first time.
In solidarity, the Imo State chairman of Labour Party, who was in the meeting, Callistus Ihejiawa, condemns the arrest of the party's zonal chairman, saying the party ought to eschew internal wrangling.
It's regrettable that the police could be used to intimidate and harass our party officers, especially in a state that is governed by a governor from Abia's Labour Party extraction. As a father, we are appealing to him to see the need to embrace the olive branch that our national chairman extended to everyone.
To what extent can the recent developments within the Labour Party that have pitched one-time party faithful against one another affect their chances at the forthcoming elections in Abia State? Only time will tell. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
And over now to security matters, the Nigerian Army has declared that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Torid Lagbaja, is on leave. The development follows reports that the COAS is currently incapacitated due to ill health. Disclosing this development, the Army spokesman Onyema Nwachukwu said there is a laid-down process that ensures no vacuum in the leadership structure. Nwachukwu said the Army Chief of Policy and Plans, Major General Abdul Salami Ibrahim, would act on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff during his absence. Nwachukwu added that the course leave won't affect the Army's operations. Let's also tell you that Nigeria's Minister of Defense, Mohammed Abubakar, has emphasized the need for peaceful coexistence among people of diverse ethno-religious and socio-cultural divides if peace must reign. The minister was speaking in Jos Plateau State, capital north-central Nigeria, when he attended a stakeholders' engagement on the recurrent pockets of insecurity in some parts of the state that have left many lives lost and properties destroyed. Correspondent Chizoba Nyonwe was there for News Central and now tells us more.
The minister was received at the 3 Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment by the General Officer Commanding Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, where he inspected the quarter guard. Next port of call was the 3 Division Sports Complex, where he addressed troops of Operation Safe Haven 3 Division and those from the 551 Battalion Nigerian Air Force.
My mission is simple: to thank you for the effort you are putting in returning normalcy to Plateau State. We have seen the tremendous progress in fight against insecurity. The President asked me to come and thank you for the effort and to tell you to do more.
The minister made some remarks before he went into a closed-door session with stakeholders from Barikin Ladi, Bokos, Mangu, Riom, and Wase local government areas of Plateau State, worst hit areas of violent attacks in recent times.
We spoke frankly, and I represent the federal government. There are recommendations that are being sent to the state, recommendations that the federal government will look into. And rubbing mind with the representative of the governor, I believe those recommendations will be discussed and will be taken care of. And I believe peace and normality will return to Plateau.
Issue of understanding, one, between all the parties involved, and then secondly, trying to get people to give or accept some concessions in order for us to have, genuine peace within the state. By the time we put in place 1 or 2 other measures in place in order to enhance this issue of understanding and for people to accept to give concessions, we will have a better peace within the state.
Host of the event and GOC 3 Armored Division, who also doubles as Commander Operation Safe Haven, said events such as this remain one of the non-kinetic measures to end criminality within the Operation Safe Havens joint operations areas.
Stakeholders engagement such as this is one of the non-kinetic tools which we have employed to address security issues on the plateau. And I am pleased to inform you that our initiative is largely working. I want to assure you that we are not resting on our oars in our efforts to attain our mandate of ensuring a safe, secure, and prosperous plateau state.
These critical stakeholders were not left out in their thoughts on the event.
It is something that we cherish, and we believe that it will help us to live together in peace by the grace of God. And so we pray that what we have discussed will be implemented to the fullest.
The GOC, honestly, and the SF commander, they've been putting in their best. All they need is small cooperation with the traditional rulers. They need the cooperation of traditional rulers.
This meeting is a very good one, because if all of us here will hear what the elders said, we will stay in peace.
Now, if events such as this and assurances given here are anything to take home, then sooner than later, pockets of insecurities here on the plateau and in some other parts of the country will be a theme of the past. From the 3 division headquarters in Jos for News Central, Chizoba and Nyowe.
2 businessmen, Ejirika Okechukwu Emmanuel and Iwagu Ikedi Victory, as well as a Canada-based nurse, Usman Grace Khadijat, have been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for attempting to import and export cocaine pellets and parcels of loud, a synthetic strain of cannabis. Director Media and Advocacy of the NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, in a statement said they were arrested at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, while Ejirika was apprehended for ingesting 400 grams of cocaine. 26-year-old businessman Iwagu was arrested for also ingesting 22 grams of the same substance. Meanwhile, Grace was nabbed with a total of 70 parcels of Canadian loud weighing 35.70 kilogram. The Lagos State government has partnered with private organizations to host the 18th annual Walk for Nature event in Lagos State. This walk is held each year to promote nature conservation and improve environmental stewardship across the region. Representatives from various sectors in a few kilometer walk highlighted the importance of preserving green spaces. News Central's Igbalani Omoni reports.
The need for environmental conservation in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, is becoming increasingly urgent due to the rising population growth, pollution and waste generation. Lagos, with a population of over 21 million people, is one of the fastest growing cities in Africa. The state generates over 13,000 metric tons of solid waste daily, which ends up in drainage channels, lagoons and waterways, polluting the environment. Over 70% of the population lacks access to central sewage systems, resulting in wastewater discharge into the environment. Air pollution from vehicular emissions and industrial activities is also a major issue. The ecological situation is deteriorating rapidly due to deforestation, coastal erosion, and threats to biodiversity. There needs to be a balance between human development and environmental protection to ensure sustainable growth. Recognizing the importance of environmental conservation, the Lagos State government and its partner, the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, holds the 18th Walk for Nature.
Today's work is to create awareness. It's one of our flagship awareness programs that we normally do every year to create awareness about pressing environmental issues so that everybody will be aware of it.
Activities that led to all of those things are what we're trying to cut back on. Let us save nature, let us protect nature, let us protect biodiversity, let us see that we conserve nature. Look at, for instance, the mangrove, that we have in Lagos State. They've all been taken off by developmental projects. These are all part of nature. They all help us to create balance, ecological balance in nature.
We must all be aware as adults before we're able to translate this. And again, having this work for nature is one of the steps, that we can take as a government, as a community, to ensure that we educate ourselves first.
Experts say the continuous partnership between the government and the private sector will help drive environmental education, advocacy, biodiversity conservation, and ecosystem restoration initiatives in the state.
The message is beginning to sink in, particularly in Lagos. We need to protect the environment because the environment is our life support system. And if you don't protect your life support system, you're going to have a lot of problems.
With concerted action and commitment from all stakeholders, experts say it is imperative to fund conservation efforts, implement waste management solutions, promote sustainable consumption and production, and educate citizens on the need for a greener Lagos. In Lagos 4 News Central, I am Igbalani Omani.
Coming up next here on News Now, renewed fighting resumes in DR Congo's North Kivu region. We'll bring to you details of this story and more. Stay with us. Welcome back. Democratic Republic of Congo is witnessing renewed clashes between M23 rebels and government-aligned militia in the restive eastern region, breaking a fragile truce that had lasted several weeks and leaving 14 civilians wounded. 2 teenagers are said to be among the bullet-injured people in North Kivu region. A ceasefire between the DRC Army and Rwanda-backed M23 had been in place since early August following mediation by Angola. Peace talks between Kinshasa and Kigali had since stalled, but a new round of talks is planned in Luanda next weekend. Meanwhile, residents of several districts in Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, have called for help from the authorities after torrential rain triggered flooding where rivers burst their banks. Some of the victims said they have lost everything and even running out of food, and have asked the government to show goodwill and to be aware of the need to help the population.
Débordement is a chaque mbula. Moga mbula ebeti boy. Moni za muke. C'est-à-dire mai traversant des grands mabé kota ba palais. So be kutu mo la na mbete mo be ko kufa. C'est-à-dire suite à négligence ya mboka ba konzi. Suivez ça la raté. On a 5 na gouvernement congolais, la 5 na gouvernement congolais na volonté, na conscience à Zaranango. Aider population parce que
c'est-à-dire qu'on a compressionné quoi rivière, l'eau ne passe pas. C'est pourquoi que ça déborde. Si ça déborde, ça manque par où passer, ça nous entre dans la maison.
Qu'est-ce qui a compressé là?
Dans nos maisons, tout est abîmé. Tout. Nous manquons même quoi manger aujourd'hui.
President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, issued a warning stating that regional issues may result in unbearable economic strain on the populace and a re-examination of the economic reforms that have been required by other countries. Since 2022, Egypt has been engulfed in an economic challenge. The economy, which has been dominated by businesses with ties to the military and has spent years concentrating on costly infrastructure mega projects, is almost totally dependent on imports. The amount of foreign debt has increased. The currency has had multiple devaluations and inflation has increased as a result. This year, the International Monetary Fund authorized an additional $5 billion to the previously agreed $3 billion loan for the most populous country in the Arab world. Let's also tell you that Kenya's ousted Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on Sunday lashed out at his boss William Ruto as a vicious and cruel, warning that his life could be in danger. Gachagua was impeached by the Senate on 5 out of 11 charges leveled against him on Thursday, but a court order put his replacement process on hold. He was found guilty on charges including threatening judges and practicing ethnically divisive politics, but cleared of corruption and money laundering. The embattled 59-year-old said his security had been withdrawn and his entire staff sent on compulsory leave. He said if anything happens to him or his family, President William Ruto must be held to account, claiming past attempts at his life. Well, still ahead here on News Now, King Charles heckled by lawmaker at Parliament. We'll bring to you this story. Stay with us. And thanks for staying with us. King Charles' visit to the Australian Parliament was interrupted by Indigenous Senator Lydia Thorpe's anti-colonial slogan shouts, shocking assembled lawmakers and other dignitaries. The independent lawmaker requested that the monarch relinquish the Australian lands taken from them, as she decried what she described as a genocide of Indigenous Australians by European settlers. Australia was a British colony for more than 100 years, during which time thousands of Aboriginal Australians were killed and entire communities displaced. The country gained de facto independence in 1901, but has never become a fully fledged republic. King Charles is the current head of state. Well, away from that, UN Chief Antonio Guterres urges significant investment in a fund created to safeguard Earth's biodiversity as he addresses delegates to COP16, the world's biggest nature protection conference in Cali, Colombia. The Global Biodiversity Framework Fund, GBFF, was created last year to help countries achieve the goals of the so-called Coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, GBF, adopted in Canada in 2022, with 23 targets to halt and reverse the loss of nature by 2030. According to the monitoring agencies, countries have made about $250 million in commitments to the fund. Italy's northeastern Emilia-Romagna region was again partially underwater on Sunday after heavy overnight rain and flooding that killed one person in a flat land battered by extreme weather as recently as last month. Firefighters said they had found the body of a missing person in Botteghino di Zocca, immediately south of Bologna. The victim has been identified as a 20-year-old man whose car was swept away by the rush of water. Bologna and 4 provinces in the northeastern plains area were placed under a red alert until midnight Sunday, although rains had tapered off. According to the City Hall, schools in Bologna would be closed on Monday. Let's bring to you sports updates. Remo Stars reclaimed the top spot in the Nigeria Premier League with a 1-0 victory over ACK rivals Bendel Insurance in Ikene on Sunday, bringing their total to 18 points from 8 matches. Ghanaian Dele Akorli scored the decisive goal in the 43rd minute. Meanwhile, El Kanemi Warriors edged former champions Ayimba 1-0 with Usman Abbas netting just before halftime, leaving Ayimba third with 14 points. In other matches, Abia Warriors defeated Plateau United 3-1, overcoming an early goal from Adamu Abubakar with 2 quick strikes from Sunday Megwo and Adejo. Kano Pillars drew 1-1 with Kwara United, while Sunshine Stars won 1-0 against Nasarawa United. Monday's fixtures include Ikorodu City versus Lobi Stars and Niger Tornadoes hosting Rivers United. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) has excluded Nigerian referees from the upcoming Women's Champions League in Morocco, raising concerns about Nigeria's representation in continental football. Of the 52 selected match officials, which include 16 referees, 14 assistant referees and 10 video assistant referees, none are from Nigeria, despite the country having FIFA-badged officials. Instead, referees from Niger Republic, Burundi and Mauritania were chosen. The tournament will take place from November 9 to 23, featuring 8 teams, including Nigeria's Edo Queens. Their participation is overshadowed by the absence of Nigerian referees, prompting discussions about the quality and recognition of officiating from Nigeria at the continental level. Head coach Justin Madugu has called up Captain Rashidat Ajibade, goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie and 23 other players for 2 international friendlies against Algeria and Lagos at the end of October. The matches are scheduled for the Mobolaji Johnson Arena on Saturday, October 26 and Tuesday, October 29. This marks the Super Falcons' first home international friendlies since the Aisha Buhari Invitational Tournament 3 years ago. Madugu's squad includes Turkey-based defender Oluwatosin Demihin, Edo Queens Comfort Shaw, Spain-based Gift Monday, and several home-based professionals, along with some Falconets from last month's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. The games approved by the Confederation of African Football will be officiated by FIFA match officials from Benin Republic. And that's all the news we have for you for this hour. But before we go, a quick look at the top stories once again. Amnesty International activists tackle police over harassment of protesters at the EndSARS memorial, which took place yesterday. TCN has promised backup system to avert frequent grid collapses here in Nigeria. And we also told you that renewed fighting has resumed in DR Congo's North Kivu region. To watch News Central 24 hours a day, do well to watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV. You can stream live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Jasiri is up next at 10 a.m. Make sure you join the ladies for a very insightful conversation. I'm Joe Hanson. Good morning.